build confidence by looking back. How did I build confidence to be able to do what I was doing and to lead in those moments? I had to look back, even though I didn't have the exact moments, the exact situations. I looked back and I said, I've done hard things before. I've been able to get through difficult things. I'd lost both of my parents a couple of years before that experience. So I realized I've lost someone. It was difficult, but I can make it. I leaned in on the things that gave me strength and that increased my joy. I made a decision I was going to show up for my kids. I let go of those places and things that were not making me feel excited or healthy so that I could lean in and be confident.
Hello, Sheyna. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you say, Sheyna, oftentimes I love to thank my guests for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So firstly, Sheyna, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest that in yourself. And oftentimes, Sheyna, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. They say some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Sheyna, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Sheyna, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did. And it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and everything, branches. And not just mangoes now, Sheyna. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day, and I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Sheyna that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see that you got the request from me to be on the show, because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions, Sheyna. These stuffs are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Sheyna is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to be selfish, and even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Sheyna. So thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, Sheyna.
I'm so excited. What a great analogy. I love that. I mean, I think it's phenomenal. As you talked about that mango tree, something sort of hit me, Elisha, which was when you invest in yourself, you don't just produce fruit for yourself, you produce fruit for others. So it's like whoever planted that can't eat all the fruit off of that tree, but others can. So I love the mango tree illustration. That
Thank
was
you.
beautiful.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate that. So let's get started, Sheyna. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Sheyna, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you say, Sheyna, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Shayna on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Shayna, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Shayna, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Shayna, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Shayna got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Shayna, over to you.
Well, thank you. Well, I'll start this way. It was a normal Sunday morning, and my husband Jeff, who was a pastor, was playing with my 2-year-old son at the time in the bed. And so I woke up to the sounds of these giggling and laughter, and they were playing Eskimo kisses with each other. And I heard my husband say to my son, "Gooby, give me some sugar." And I was like, "Oh, how sweet." And so I'm laying in the bed, and my husband's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go take the kids to church. You relax and just take some time for yourself." And I laid there thinking, man, my life is amazing. I got this great husband, 2 amazing children. My husband was pastoring, and I'm just like in awe, right, of how good things are. We go to church that day, and at the end of service, Jeff comes up to me and he says, "I'm not feeling really well." And I said, "Well, go take care of yourself and I'll come back and check on you." And when I came back about 10 minutes later to check on him, I found him lying on the ground, completely unconscious.
Ooh,
And we called emergency. They came in, took him to the hospital. And when I arrived at the hospital, the doctors brought me into a room and they said, "We're sorry, Mrs. Hurd. We've done all that we can, but your husband has passed away."
ooh, so sorry.
Elisha, I was done. Just that morning, everything was great. And then that afternoon, everything had fallen apart. And so here I was. I had 2 children. They were 2 and 5 years old, 2 little boys. We had a church that was now fractured because they didn't have a leader. And we had a business that we had started that also was without a leader. And within 24 hours, I became a widow, a single mom, a senior pastor, and a CEO, all within 24 hours, all while I'm going through some of the most horrendous pain of my life. So that's how I got to the positions that I'm in now. I didn't plan for them. I didn't prep for them. It wasn't like I was like, one day I'm going to take over the business or pastor. In fact, I got in these positions suddenly, and I began to start when I started in the positions of leading these organizations, I realized I wasn't equipped. And I thought about it. I had already been coaching and training people, but I'd really begin to think how many people get thrown into life's positions, leadership roles that they're just not prepared for. And what can we do when we get there? And so I began to recognize that if you learn how to lead yourself, if you learn how to lead others, then you can lead in any situation. You can get out of it. I had to learn how to lead me through my pain, through my hurt, through my own feelings of grief. I had to learn how to lead my family, my boys through their pain, through how do we move them into healthy places. I had to learn how to lead my congregation. I had to learn how to lead my business. And I realized that everything, like John Maxwell says, rises and falls on leadership. And so I just became a massive student of leadership.
Shayna, I
That's
tell
how we
you,
got here.
I must say, that must have been so painful. And the beautiful part of this is you went through all of that and you're still standing. Look at your wonderful smile. I tell you, not many people go through that and still be standing. A lot would have been driven away by the whole circumstance and could even have given up on life. That makes you a very great leader, the one that is worthy to be followed, I tell you. So I've got some questions here. Now, how did you find the strength to rebuild after such loss?
That's a tough one. I mean, obviously, I have a faith in something higher in God, and that really, really helped. But I had to borrow faith. I'm gonna just tell you, I'm gonna have to borrow faith in myself because I didn't feel like I could do it. But I started thinking about people who were close to me who kept saying, "Oh, you're amazing. Oh, you got this. Oh, you're doing it." And I was like, I don't see that. But what I would do is I would say in those deep moments, what would they say to me if they were right here, right now? When I don't feel like I can keep going, what would the people who believe in me most say? And I started thinking one person who was super close to me is my brother, and he's always been like my biggest cheerleader. And so I had to ask myself, well, what would my brother say in this moment? You know, what would my best friend say to me? And those words started coming like, girl, you got this. You've been doing this. You've been through hard before. You can handle this. And so all of those words helped me because, you know, when I couldn't find my own confidence and my own faith to lead, I had to borrow their words to help me. And so many times we cancel out in our own minds, you know, the belief that we can do something. And so we struggle to do it. And I say, instead of trying to figure out how to muster your own words, think about people who do believe in you. Think about people who have supported you. Maybe it's an old teacher. Maybe it's a pastor. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's a sibling. Maybe it's your parent, but somebody who felt like you are amazing. You need to like tap into their words in your head. And that's one of the things that really, really kept me going. If they think I can, I think I need to think I can too.
I got that. And that's so deep and powerful. So, talk to us about what inspired you to create your wonderful leadership framework.
Yeah, so I created a framework that was really based out of my own life experience and the people that I was coaching. What started to happen was people were saying, like, man, Sheyna, you're an amazing leader. How did you get here? And I was like, well, wait a minute. Before we talk about how I got here, how about you tell me what you see in me first? And I asked the people that were closest to me, I asked several of the people that I had coached before, people who thought I was amazing leaders. I've led teams of up to 200. So I pulled some of my old staff, some of my old volunteers, and I said, hey, tell me what are some words that would describe me? If you think I'm a great leader, tell me why. And inevitably, these four words kept resounding. They said, you are relational, meaning that, you know I've been grateful to be able to connect with some amazing people. Overwhelmingly, people kept saying, you are authentic. I am just me. Wherever I go, I'm me. I don't know how to be anybody else but me, but apparently that's working. And they said, you're innovative, which meant I was a problem solver. I never looked at a problem that I didn't go, we can't, I've never seen a problem that I didn't say we can't solve. There's always a solution somewhere. And then they said that, you know, hey, you're resilient. You've been able to bounce back. And then I started looking at some of the best leaders that I've been around, some of the people that I've taught and trained. And I go, being resilient, authentic, innovative, and relational are all things that they have in common too. So I created my RAIR, RAIR framework, because I said, if you're going to lead, you got to be rare. And you can't be rare spelt the normal way. You got to spell it different. So RAIR. That's where we got the framework from. And it's been the model for how we
Amazing.
train and lead.
Amazing. And that's a smart one. Getting feedbacks from people. I got that. Okay, so how can leaders apply this beautiful, very model in their daily work?
Yeah, so it's a lot of how we work with people and what we believe in ourselves. So if we take the RAIR framework and we say being relational, relationships are built on trust. And people don't really realize this, but you can build trust. You can take steps to build trust. You build trust by communicating effectively. The more you communicate effectively, the more you do what you say you're going to do, people trust you. And whenever you don't, you break the trust. So you can grow relationally by learning to communicate, by dealing with emotional intelligence. You can be authentic. I will say this, nobody likes people who are fake and phony, even in their leadership. If I
Yeah.
don't think that my leadership is telling me the truth, if I don't think they're being honest about who they are, it's like I can't tell you these are my values and then go off and do something completely different. So if my values are work-life balance, if my values are family first, but you see me like emailing at 2 o'clock in the morning and, not like missing my kids' important events, that it's not authentic. It's not real. And so it's like, why would I follow you? Then when we talk about being innovative, honestly, so many people get in problems and they just think there's nothing they can do. Innovation says it's not technology. It's not, I gotta, come up with the latest iPhone that's gonna make $1 billion. Innovation is just, there is a problem facing us, and the way we've been doing it isn't working. You can do this in your family. Like, let's say you're trying to grow your finances in your family, and you're like, we need innovation. You cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. You got to come up with something different. You got to try something different. So innovation is being open to try something different. And then resilient is that, change. What I learned from my situation with my husband who passed away was life changes. One thing is inevitable. Everybody dies and change happens. Those are two things that are inevitable, right? When change hits, how do you handle that? So learning to handle the changes of life and still coming out joyful and resilient and bouncing back from it is really a skill that can be developed. So that's how you input RAIR into your life as a leader. That's how you input it into your life personally.
Beautiful, and that's so true. And every leader must always expect change because that's so constant.
How did I build confidence to be able to do what I was doing and to lead in those moments? I had to look back, even though I didn't have the exact moments, the exact situations. I looked back and I said, I've done hard things before. I've been able to get through difficult things. I'd lost both of my parents a couple of years before that experience. And
So
so I realized I've lost someone. It was difficult, but I can make it. I leaned in on the things that gave me strength and that increased my joy. I made a decision I was going to show up for my kids, and my kids brought me joy. I let go of those places and things that were not making me feel excited or healthy, so that I could lean in and be confident. Give me more of that so that I have what I need, the strength I need to keep moving forward. So I think when you're in those situations, you have to lean into what's already worked, which means you got to do some introspection, right? You got to go, well, what has worked for me? What does make me feel better? What does give me energy? What does make me feel powerful? Maybe it's saying affirmations, which I did. I still say affirmations to this day. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm amazing. That gives me confidence. And you have to kind of find your rhythm for what has happened. And then you have to lean more into that so you have confidence in the middle of hard stuff.
that's so true and very important. Looking back, that reminded me of David in the Bible. He said he already fought with various wild animals, so you Goliath, you're so small. That's a great one. I got that. So we have one more to go, Shayna. So what do you hope every leader takes away from your story and framework?
I hope you take away that you have to keep growing. You can allow the hard stuff to cause you to stop. You can allow it to cause you to stop for a minute, but you should never let it cause you to stop forever. In other words, it's okay to pause and take a break. It's okay to reflect and I'm hurt and this is difficult. It's okay to say I'm put in a position that I'm not prepared for. I was not prepared. Let me tell you something, Elisha. I was not prepared to be a senior pastor of anybody's church. And yet, you're kind of building on the fly. And what I could have done was just fake the funk for forever. And I was like, no, I'm going to authentically say, I don't know what I'm doing. So I have a choice. I can stop right here and say, I don't know what I'm doing and just fake it. And then good luck to these people. Or I can start doing what you mentioned with the mango tree, and I can invest in myself, and I can go back and see what I can do to change myself. And I can study and I can learn and I can grow. And that's why podcasts like this are so important, because it's stretching you to grow. You have to keep growing, because if you keep growing, then you'll start to produce the fruit you want. But if not, the Bible tells us you're not, if you're not producing fruit, if you're not, you're either getting pruned or you're producing fruit,
Yeah.
right? And if you're not producing more fruit, then it's like you just get cut off and you thrown away, and your dreams die, your hopes die, the vision, the calls that God has for you are gone. And so I think, stop tripping on where you are and just start investing in yourself to keep going. Don't stop. Again, I'm not saying don't stop ever. I'm saying if you stop, make sure you be mindful of yourself that I have to keep going. Even if this is a pause, this isn't a complete dead end stop. And that's what I did. I went back to school. I got another degree. I got a degree in Master's of Divinity. I got a Master's of Business. I mean, I just kept growing myself. I read a lot. All of that helps me to keep going as a leader so that I'm not stopped. Always remember this: a fountain never rises higher than its source. And what that means is the people that are following you will never grow higher than you. So if you stop growing, your people stop growing. That's not just your teams at work. That's your family. That's your kids. That's everything around you. So don't stop growing.
You know, you said you can stop to rekindle the fire, to re-strategize, to invest more in yourself, but don't stop forever. Boy, that's a profound one, and thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to take that as a final thought. So for folks who would like to reach out to you, Sheyna, learn more about the beautiful stuff you're doing, or even up on your services or programs, how can that be possible?
Yeah, you can just reach me on my website at SheynaJamesConsulting.com. And I actually have a little free toolkit for you. Like, if you want to grow in your leadership, you can go to my website and you can get the free toolkit. It's my leadership emergency kit. And then also, if you're interested, I just became a bestseller. Woohoo! You can find my book, Fix the Leadership Problem, on Amazon. Just go to Amazon at Fix the Leadership Problem and you'll find me.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, Sheyna. Thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing those beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Elisha. Thanks for having me.